welcome to the How Long to Beat podcast. I'm Rick, joined as always by Alyx and an imposter pretending to be Paula because she's the only one with a retirement this week. That doesn't sound right to me. Well, exactly. So we're going to talk about what we've been. We're going to talk about what the imposter has retired, and we're going to talk about what we're playing. This week's topic, achievements. Love them, hate them. We'll find out. And then we're going to take a question from the community, and we're going to finish off with everyone's favorite.
How long to beat the game?
Who knows? I feel like I should give up on guessing how well or badly they're going to turn out.
I've given up at this point, so you should too.
I don't know. I will kick off at playing this week, or I've beaten this week, because I've only got the one. And it is one I talked about last week, which is Box Boy and Box Girl. I finished the Long Boy campaign, which is like the post-game sort of, for people who are good at this game, have a bit more of a challenge. And it was a bit more of a challenge, but it was a healthy challenge. And I pretty much landed exactly where I did last week, which is this game is wonderful. And for fans old and new, it is a wonderful jumping in point. Yeah. Paula, tell us about your completions.
Okay, I got 2 completions this week. The first of all is Light and Shadow. That is actually, what's the name? A Game Jam game made like 3 years ago. And it has like a very similar concept to the game we talked about last week that was Shadowpath. But in this case, it's more like a fully 2D thing and you control these 2 blobs. But the idea of making a blob go through the shadows to the goal is pretty much the same. And it was cute, it was charming, I really recommend it. And Unpacking. I very much wanted like a more wholesome game after the soon-to-be talk about retirement of this week. So I was like, okay, I need to turn my brain off. I just want to relax after wanting to like pull my hair out with the retirement. So it is a very nice game. You really feel like you know the person you're like unpacking the stuff for after finishing the game. And it is just a very chill experience. So it is on Game Pass. If you're a Game Pass, go try it out. Alyx,
yeah,
tell us about your Oculus.
I kind of want to hear Alex's reaction to that first, though, because I remember you being very meh on Unpacking.
Oh, no, I knew Paula would like it. Well, no, because it's not a bad game. It's just like, do you know, like, I knew as I was playing it, I was like, not really for me, but fun enough. You know what I mean? But I had a feeling that, like I said, it's a make your own fun kind of game. So, like, if you're more into that sort of organizing and enjoying it, then that's a good time. My only real complaint with it was just, like, I couldn't tell what some of the things were. I was like, what the fuck is this thing?
Oh,
yeah.
Like, I mean, I really like organizing stuff, and actually I'm pretty much organizing my room like right about now. Everything is upside down. So I follow the same principle with Unpacking. Throw everything to the floor, get all the legs and legs together, and then put them back together where they belong.
See, exactly. And that's the thing. Like, I knew, I was like, this will be right up Paula's alley, and she's going to have a blast with this. And I think anyone who, I don't know, enjoys unpacking or just organizing, because I don't know how many people who love to unpack, but like organizing is fun.
Organizing is pretty fun.
And
like,
I thought
let me see if I can.
I thought the story was very sweet too. Like what is told through it. Yeah, there you go. She's got like beautiful color coded markers.
Yup. Sorted by the rainbow.
There you go.
I have issues.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah. So as for me, yeah, I can't believe how good this Zombieland game is. So like, I beat Zombieland Headshot Fever on Oculus. Like I mentioned, I got it in the Fanatical. They had an Oculus Quest bundle, which was a ridiculously good deal. Because like I added most of those games to like, you know, my like how long to beat. I've got like a VR tab now, and like a lot of them were just very highly rated. And I was like, holy shit, because like, I don't know. Sometimes you think in those bundles, you're like, all right, I'm going to get a couple okay things. And it's just going to be kind of like, let's put all the games that aren't selling so hot. But they're just good games that you might overlook, because I do think potentially, like, if you bought this game at full price, you might be a little like, But as like, you know, basically cost me $1 game. Holy shit, really fun. And just like chaining combos in it, because the way it works is like, because I know in the Zombieland movie, there's this whole like double tap thing, right? Where they're like, you always got to double tap them in the head. And so the way that they translate that into this game is that if you shoot the zombie like twice in the head, or basically it's basically you shoot them twice, but more what it works out to is that like if you only the first time you shoot them in the head, if all your consecutive shots hit them in the head, when they die, it'll slow down time. And so you can chain combos by shooting the zombies in the head. And the more often you stay in that adrenaline state, it reduces your time meter by the end of the level, right? So it's fucking addicting, and like it's pretty tough to do at times. And so like you really get to this level where it's just like you're like, yeah, replay these levels because they're short as shit. Like most of the levels take like less than 2 minutes to get through. You're doing it if you're like going quite quickly. So it really rewards that just like, come on, yeah, go again, you'll have fun kind of thing. And like I had a blast with it. It was really fun. It's not very long at all. Like it took me, like 3 hours to get through everything basically in there. And they had like these deleted scenes and like extended stuff that I think might have been added later, and they're pretty fun. One of them is actually really, really, really welcomed because you unlock things with like toilet paper. I don't know if that was something from the movies. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but it's like acts as the currency, and you essentially get it from like headshotting zombies and stuff. And so there's this like deleted scene in there, or extended cut, I don't know, where like it's just to farm toilet paper. And so like all the zombies, and you have a special skill, if you do that you can get like ridiculous amounts of it just by playing through that, which is kind of nice because you can just upgrade easily instead of having to like tirelessly go through all the other levels again. It's just nice to have that. Like it just feels good. So yeah, I really recommend it if you've got one and you just want like a fun light gun style game. Really great. Especially if you got that bundle. If you got that bundle, get this shit. I also beat Beat Saber because I got through the campaign, and the reason actually I got through the campaign because I wanted to mod it, and so I just modded it today because like it you have to like uninstall and go back to a previous version, so like you'll lose your progress and whatnot. So I was like, let's beat the campaign and then let's roll it back. And so now I'm getting all them custom songs, which is really fun. Man, there is quite a community for Beat Saber. Like, holy shit, the amount of custom songs that you can get and custom maps and everything. Like, oh, beautiful. I've spent my day today modding basically, like, because I've never really done this, but I was like, I've done a whole bunch of, I've jailbroken things and stuff. So I'm like, can't be that much different. And it's not. So, and it's so wonderful because there's just so many excellent tutorials and everything now. Like I imagine once upon a time it was a fucking nightmare to mod things, but there's such a wonderful like communities around so many different games that it's like not that difficult. And I'll talk about another game that I modded later. But yeah, Beat Saber's the best. Like it's just so good. Elite Saber, yeah, it is truly the Elite Saber. I also been playing Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I beat it. I finished it up. Only 82 something hours, which is actually probably a little fast. Like I did everything. Yeah, I did everything in all of them. But to be fair, though, okay, I don't know if this is my third or only second time beating Mass Effect 3, because I know I've beaten Mass Effect 1 like 4 times, I think, and I've beaten Mass Effect 2 now 3 times, but possibly I've only played Mass Effect 3 once, and and the thing is, like, I actually think, I know there was controversy around the ending, but when you play the Legendary Edition, you'll have no idea there was controversy because the ending is very well done, right? And like it's just, I don't know, this third game is such an excellent payoff to this whole series. Like it really goes there, right? Like the whole game is you're at war, right? And like, because all the other ones are leading up to this. And I love that each of the Mass Effect games is so distinct and is really exploring such different concepts. Because like, that first game is really like, the first game kind of stands on its own because it is kind of proof of concept, and it's like kind of here's a smaller story where we get introduced to the world. Very New Hope. Which I also hear some people like critique Mass Effect of being like, oh yeah, it's just like all the sci-fi tropes. And I'm like, first off, fuck right off. It is not all the sci-fi tropes. Like, you say that and it's like, you could say that for like any sci-fi thing. You're like, oh, it's sci-fi. It uses sci-fi tropes. And I'm like, no, what are you talking about? Also, secondly, the writer has written Star Wars novels. Like, he's the guy, Drew Karpyshyn is the one who wrote the like Darth Bane trilogy. So like, if you want to say it's just like Star Wars, you're like, well, I don't know. He's like influenced in all of these worlds. Like, it's sci-fi. What do you want to do? So anyway, I don't stand by any of that. Mass Effect is phenomenal. And I also have to say, the one way that I do think it's like Star Wars is that Mass Effect for me is the Star Wars of video games, where it is its own sci-fi trilogy that is first and foremost a game, and obviously has other things that extend outwards, but like it really stands as its own testament of like it comes from games, and that's where it's from, and it might have influences, but like it is a game, and it's just so good.
And like Star Wars, after the first three, was an inevitable drop off.
Yeah, but I think things are going to be okay. I'm hoping Mass Effect 4, because it looks like they're going with one of the specific endings, and I'm very excited to see what'll happen with that. And they're coming back, which is nice. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But here's the thing too. Even if they don't, this Legendary Edition is so perfect. Like, you're good, you know? Like, it's like with Star Wars. Like, I don't mind that they're doing all these other crazy shit, because I'm like, oh, it might be more of that thing that I enjoy, but the ones that I love still exist, and they're still there. Though I will say, this is probably better than George Lucas's.
Given all the Lucas cuts.
Yeah, but there's still those ones. Like, there's the special editions that fans did that are incredible. They restore theatrical, and it's just so beautiful. Anyway, sorry. But anyway, with Mass Effect 3, like, the one other thing I want to say, it's like, yeah, the first one is kind of its unique sort of game where you're like learning, going on this big space odyssey adventure to stop the big baddie. But then the second one is really this exploration of the ties that you make with your party, right? Like, it's very much about forging connections and like the power of those bonds and like the power of those friendships and what that does. And then the third game is like paying off on your decisions, right? It's like showing the consequences of your actions and how those bonds ultimately serve and I don't know, and impact your world, right? And it's like and also it's about like the cost and the like reality of such a like intense conflict. It's like there are sacrifices that'll be made, and you have to decide where you're gonna land on those. So yeah, hella good game. It's also the best combat in the series. Like, Mass Effect 2, I think, is my favorite only because it's like a little more focused as one can be, where you're the middle segment. The third game is like, well, listen, this is a big intergalactic conflict, and they do an amazing job with it. It's just like, the stakes are so high in the third one that it can be a bit exhausting sometimes, because you're like, holy shit. But it also has the best piece of DLC for any game as far as I'm concerned. The Citadel DLC is just incredible. So anyway, that's Mass Effect Legendary Edition. If you haven't played it, I know it looks daunting because it's so long and there's so much. But when you think about it, it's not really that long, because that's less than Persona 5. So you can play all three of the games, get through everything, in less time than it takes to play a JRPG. So do it. It's worth it. It's so worth it. And you can split them up. I played the first one in May, then I played it in June, and then I beat this one now. It's fucking 2022. So, like, it's just good and a great experience that way. So anyway, that's my proselytizing at the altar that is Mass Effect. Paula, why don't you tell me about your retirement?
Well, I call bullshit on this game because, Holy Bridge. I heard about the second one being like so much better because they minimize the RNG physics. Because on the first game on Poly Bridge, there's like a little like RNG factor that will kind of like sway your entire structure one way or another. So, for example, I was at this level, like trying to tweak, like making the last little tweaks trying to make this bridge work. And like half of the bridge kind of work, and one piece of the other half was like not really wanting to work for me. So I move a piece, then I click undo, and it wasn't working anymore. That was about like after 2 hours of trying to finish this bridge. And I have like, I would say like between 8 and 10 levels left. And I was like, okay, if it's gonna take me like 2 hours to beat each and every one of these or more, yeah, I'd rather just retire this and jump to the better version because Polybridge 2 doesn't have like all this bullshit. Or at the very least, I hope. Like the game is like the point like higher on the grading, like the sequel than this one. So something it has to be doing right. It has a lower retirement rate according to how long to it. So it has to be doing something better. So yeah, that's my retirement. I call bullshit on this one, and I encourage you, if you are interested on the Poly Bridge series, don't play this one. Play the second one. So yeah.
So would you say the second game's got more polish?
Oh my god, Rick. I was about to say Rick go next, but Alyx, do you want to go next?
All right, here we go. So I'm playing a lot of games, but a lot of them are what I would call taste tests. Because when my new PC arrived, new laptop, oh man, this thing is, it's very nice. It was worth the wait. Which I sort of expected. Anytime I've ever ordered a laptop in my life, it always takes a long time. It's just fine. Okay, where do I even start? So I decided, like, first off, I was like, I want to put this through its paces, see what I can do with this. And so I thought I'd try Half-Life Alyx because I've been very excited. I've heard nothing but amazing things about this game. I played all the Half-Life games years ago. I had to freaking watch like a recap because I was like, what the fuck happened in the Half-Life games? Because I played them, this is how long ago I played them. I played them on the Xbox 360 through the orange box. So it's been a long time. But yeah, so, okay, little thing with Oculus, because this might be interested for anyone who, has an Oculus, whatever. There's a couple ways that you can play PCVR through Oculus, right? You can use the Oculus Link, which would be just like connecting a cable to the Link. And then, you're playing it kind of like you would play any PCVR headset, right? You got a little cable. It's not a big cable, but hey, you got a cable. Then they have this experimental feature called AirLink. So I don't really know. Like, I think you need to have a really good router to use AirLink. I tried setting up AirLink and I was just getting like a loading screen. So I was like, forget about it. Now I've heard that Virtual Desktop is like really great. So the thing is, Virtual Desktop is a paid app. Like, it's $20. But as far as I'm concerned, it is so fucking worth the money. And like, I'm actually kind of happy to give the developers money for this because like they've done something very impressive. So I just like connect my laptop to an Ethernet. And then I got like, in preparation for all this, I called my like ISP provider and I was like, my Wi-Fi bad, give me better Wi-Fi. And they were like, okay. And I just like bugged them enough until they sent me these like nice Wi-Fi boosters, which still aren't like as good as what I'm technically paying for, but they told me like, we're rolling out Wi-Fi 6, just give me a minute. We'll get there. And I'm like, fine, I'm going to call you back in a month. But using Virtual Desktop, it literally just like it connected and it launches your games for you. Like, it has a section that says Games Launcher and it checks, Steam, it checks your Oculus app on your PC, checks all of that, which, another fun note, I bought Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, right? Which on the Quest is serviceable, but it's a cross-buy title. So all like the Oculus things, if they have a Rift counterpart, which is the wired headset, it'll be cross-buy. So I can now just play it through PCVR. But anyway, regardless of that, I launch Half-Life Alyx and holy fuck. dish laptop, nice. Because like I was playing Half-Life Alyx max setting wirelessly because again, virtual desktop will connect you. I don't even know the wizardry because it's technically not. I don't know. There's some stuff here. It's technically not. Well, I don't know. I'm not technologically sound or capable or really that knowledgeable. I can follow instructions, but I don't understand how it works. But anyway, yeah. Like no latency. Like honestly, if there's latency, I can't fucking tell where it is. Like it's so minuscule I can't notice. And shit, this game is good. Like as I'm starting to play it, I was like, oh right, okay. So this is what VR is like when a developer who's just like, we got all the resources we want for this can get in on it. Because not to say that there's like on the quest and stuff are bad or anything. It's just that everything. I could pick up everything. Like at one point I'm just sitting there and I'm like picking up a marker and I'm drawing on a window and I'm like, that's fucked. Like there's no reason I should be able to do this in this game. It's a fucking, and I can erase it and I'm just like writing like my name and shit. Well, and this is also the problem with VR is that like they're trying to give me story information and I'm like, you know, like just like playing in it. And like at one point this guy's telling me about all this stuff and I'm just like picking up a spoon and throwing it at his face because I'm like, ah! Like it's just so much fun. And then I found out, wait, I can take spoon and I can break the cups. Oh my God, right? Like it's just like everything is just like there's all this destructible stuff. And this is also a point I have to add is that like we talked about, remember with like Death Horizon, how like when you look at it, it looks like it's like PS2 graphics or something. And this is the deal. When you look at any of these games on a flat surface, it looks bad. It just does. Like even Half-Life Alyx, if you watch just like a video of it, you're like, well, it looks good-ish, but you're also like, it doesn't look as good as games right now. But when you're in that environment, fucking hell, it looks incredible. And like especially up against like you hold like one of those guns and you pull up to your face and you're like, that's just shiny. Like it's so incredible. And like everything you can touch and play with it. And they've done this brilliant thing where you get these things called like gravity gloves. So it solves the problem of in VR, very often you're like, I don't want to fucking bend over and pick up everything for hours. Okay. I'm done with that. Most games just do it so that you just press a button, it like shoots to your hand. But they're like, no. You have gravity gloves. So like you aim towards something, you grab and then you flick your wrist and the object will fly at you and then you catch it, right? And so you actually have to catch it yourself. And goddamn, that is fun. Like I'm telling you, you get so used to it, you're just like catch and like you just feels incredible. And playing it wirelessly is like, oh, so beautiful because anyone who's playing VR, like I'd say one of the biggest recommendations is I have a yoga mat that I set down. And so I play barefoot and I can feel when I'm on it. So I know kind of where I am in my apartment. And like, so you use, you know, the left stick to move, but I never have to use the right stick. There's no reason to turn. I just move around with my body, right? And like, it feels so immersive and I get no like motion sickness from that. And I'm going quite fast in a lot of these. So anyway, that's my little foray into Half-Life Alyx. I'm like about 2 or 3 chapters in at this point, and it's really fun. It's scary as shit at times too, right? Like when you get like those fucking head crabs coming at you, oh dude, they're like, I see them and I'm like, ah, shit, like gotta shoot them and like reload yourself, and you're just like, oh, it's so much fun. Like I know, like as a caveat, my setup is not cheap, right? Like I didn't. This is not like a for everyone setup kind of thing. Like I saved a fair bit. Yeah, and I've like, you know, I've spoiled myself, we'll put it that way. But that being said, the Quest 2 though, I do think that's an affordable option. Like it's cheaper than, you know, any of the new consoles and stuff. And so like if you want at least a taste of it, I do recommend trying to pick up the Quest 2 because it's you're gonna have fun. Anyway, Half-Life Alyx, that's it. Let's go through some of these a little quicker here. So Shin Megami Tensei 5. I'm dropping off a little bit. I'm still playing it. I'm just finding myself a little like, you know what? Next week I'm going to play a lot because I have my transit again, and I'm going to be on the bus again. So I'm going to be playing it a bunch. It's just, I got new toys. I'm not really playing at home. Still playing Picross 7 though, which I'll be playing when I'm like watching my classes. That's probably going to drop off a little bit, but you know, it's Picross. What the fuck can I say? In Death Unchained on Oculus, still doing that one. Such a great roguelike. It's the bow and arrow one. Just, yeah, it's really fun. I'm probably not going to talk about it that much in the coming weeks because like it's a roguelike. So like there's not really an end to this game. So I just slowly play it for a run here or there every once in a while, you know? I spent all this afternoon modding Skyrim Special Edition for the VR and wow, when it's modded, it is really fucking good. Like I saw someone talk on Steam where like the review was like, I feel bad that I bought this from Bethesda. I wish I could have just paid the modders because like honestly, the modders make this game so good because it has HIGs. So like, okay, basically what it does is there's mods so that your whole body is in the game now. So like you can see your body and see your arms, which makes a huge difference. Everything there's like mods so that everything is interactable and like your body touches things. And that's a big thing that you don't see in a lot of VR, to be honest. In a lot of VR games, your body can go through stuff, right? Some things like or at least your hands will go through it. But in this one, it's like, no, your body is like a physical presence in the game. It makes a huge difference. And like it lets you like dual wield weapons and stuff and just I'm into Skyrim again. Though I'm not sure if I'm going to play it like right now. I'm just playing a little bit of it today and then I'll probably jump back into it later. Speaking of more, sorry guys, I have so many goddamn games on the go right now. Apologize for just like the tirade of games, but I also started playing Resident Evil 4 in VR. That shit's a chef kiss right there.
I remember you saying last week that was like the real deal.
It is the real deal. It's the real deal. It's the best experience I think on the Quest that you can get. Like to give you this example, like Half-Life Alyx, I would say it's on the level with that. Like as in terms of like the fun that I'm having, it's like it's right up there. Obviously Alyx looks better, but it's a fucking great game. I'm getting quite a bit further. I just did the big giant El Lago or whatever, the big fucking
Never got very far in Resident Evil 4, so no.
Brack!
didn't speak to me.
Never played Resident Evil 4, so no.
You too. You guys
call ourselves gamers.
Got to get VR at some point and play it there because it's a whole new experience. But there's like this giant water monster and you're on this boat. And holy shit, like flooring that boat while you're like standing and like obviously there are different comfort levels, but I was like, I don't want none of this comfort. Let me be immersive. And like that boat's going off and I've got this harpoon gun and I'm just like shooting this fucking monster coming at me. And oh, it's good shit. It's good shit. So anyway, great game. Okay, almost done. Actually, I'll wait a second because this will be our bridge for the both of you actually in a second. But I also started playing Deathloop on my PC. Max settings looks amazing. I'm so happy. That was like my test. I was like, let's see how it works, and it looks great. Though
the game's fine, but the main thing is it looks incredible.
Looks incredible. No, the game is awesome because it's Arcane, right? It's Arcane Lyon, so it's the French studio. It reminds me of Dishonored, but like a whole new like atmosphere, like time loop mechanics, ideas, and like it's so cool. I really like it. Though one thing I have to say, yeah, I'm not very good with a mouse and keyboard yet. Like this is my game to like teach me how to do that. Like I'm like, oh yeah, okay, which button again? Oh, that's the one. Okay, got it. Oh, and I'm like aiming with it. But I will say, even just from the short experience, I'm like, oh, I get it. I get why people play FPS games with a mouse because like shit.
It's like taking the training wheels off. It is just
pinpoint precision, right? Like
yeah.
I was just like, oh, I want to shoot that head. Ting, boom. Oh, I did. Like I get it now. I think I always knew, but it's just like never having a PC that was good enough. Like I should say too, because I played Risk of Rain 2 with you guys earlier the week, and like I was joking with them that it felt like it was going at 12 frames per second, and I booted up Risk of Rain 2 and I maxed everything out. It was playing at 12 frames per second because honest to God, I was like, I don't think I actually played the game last week because I could like actually see what the enemies looked like properly, and I was actually aiming and shooting them, and I was like, oh, how did I even kill anything last week?
Yeah.
So I'm excited to do that again. But anyway, Deathloop's great. And lastly, the game that you two are both playing, and that I started playing with my fiance, It Takes Two. This game's
in
awesome.
A sense, it takes 3 or 6 because, as you say, we're all playing it.
It takes 6. Yeah. Oh, I believed you guys. I just hadn't at the time, but like Oh man, we just beat the toolbox. Like that's where we're at right now. We just the first 2 chapters, and we've been doing it basically. We're playing up to a boss, and then we take a break. And she was so stressed out. She's like, "Oh my god!" Like she's like, "I'm sweating," and I love it because the game is hard, and that makes me really happy. Like it's not like easy per se. Like those bosses are challenging, but they're not impossible. And what was nice is that like we overcame it, right? Like she was freaking out, and at first she was like, "Oh, we can just quit if you want." I was like, "No, we're gonna beat this." And like then she realized she's like, "Oh, I am learning how to do this," and like there was such a feeling of accomplishment. Yeah.
What it does well is that it trusts itself to be difficult, but it also brings the consequences of getting it wrong way down.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes it crucial. So like even if one character dies, you've got like a grace period if the other person stays alive, where you can sort of bash triangle if it's on PS4 and bring yourself back into the game. Even if you both die, the checkpoints are really, really generous.
Yep.
And I think that's key because like you said, the last thing you want is to, especially with a game like this, is a great one to bring someone in with. Last thing you want is someone to get frustrated and just sort of crash out early.
Yeah. And I will say,
And
like, I was saying, like, she's really developed her video game skills in general. Like, because when we first, if I had introduced this to her first, I think it would have been a little more of a nightmare. But like through Halo, she's gotten more used to controlling her camera, and so like she's still kind of getting used to that. But like it's a really fun game for developing gaming skills because there's so many different things you have to do in it. That's like it's nice.
And it's mechanically demanding without being too much. Can we all appreciate as well how much like the male character's air dash looks like just a weird penis thrust?
Yeah, it's a weird...
Right?
He's like... Blah, 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 blah. It's kind of...
It's like the first thing I noticed. So for anyone who's listening, like, you have an air dash, and for both of them doing, the male character, when he does it, the dash basically consists of, like, it looks as though someone's thrown a fishing line, hooked him by the gonads, and just whipped it away.
I actually hadn't noticed that.
Goes fucking pelvis first through the air. And I'm pretty sure the first time I did it, I just went, penis.
Penis. Nice. Nice.
It's so bad.
I can't see it anymore. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, fuck, we're screwed now. Well, you know, my partner was saying how like she really appreciates how there's kind of this implication that like the dad's sort of like stay at home and like, you know, the mom's this engineer, like doing that work and stuff. And she's like, it's just kind of nice. Like, it's like, oh, look, it's like a slightly different look at like typical relationship dynamics. And like, she was like, that's kind of nice. Like, she's like, you know, it's like, it's not like overstated. It's just like, oh, she's the one who fixes the appliances and stuff, but like, he's kind of the one who uses them. And so like, there's this kind of like nice, like, yeah, it was just, she was like, she's
different.
She's
Yeah,
like, it's different. And she's like, I like this. This is nice, you know? Yeah. Plus the two of them are so well, like they're such good characters, and so well voiced. And the Book of Love is hilarious. I love it.
My favorite, my personal favorite.
Stupid book. Oh my god.
I love how every time it's like in the background.
Right? Slams the door in their faces, and he's like, "Window, now you're thinking."
Yeah, like the book is funny like 90% of the time, but at some point we were like, "Hey, wait, are we reaching the end?" And the book is like, "Hey, no, you still suck."
And the game's deceptively long because you get a few of those moments where you're like, oh, I think we're finally getting it. It's like, no. And like, you have a look online at a guide and you're like, fuck, we're not even halfway there yet.
It's a long game from what I can tell.
Yeah. I mean, I checked this cool little site called How Long to Beat and it said 12 to 15 hours.
I believe it.
Yeah.
And I mean, we've been parceling it out. Like, I think the way we're doing it is nice because like we're basically playing it in like hour-long chunks, and so it's kind of fun to be like, oh, okay, because I do think, you know, there aren't a lot of games that I necessarily feel this way with, but like this one, it's like after a section, you're like, I gotta stop for a bit, you know, because again, it's a lot of like communication with the person you're playing with as well, right? Which is actually very fun. And like, I love the puzzles. Like, oh my God, the fact that we both had to figure them out. Like we had a really organic moment where, I won't say the exact, but like you guys know, but it's like the puzzle where, like the hammer flips a platform. And it was the first time we were using the hammer and nail. And I was trying to figure out what's going on. My partner just kind of like said something, like as she was trying to puzzle something out, and it just like unlocked like a thing in my brain. And it felt like very collaborative. And it was really nice because a lot of my experience playing games, like when we were playing Halo together, for instance, like I beat Halo and she came along. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, that's kind of like, and like, she's be the first to admit that. And a lot of co-op games, that's what it's like, right? But in this one, I'm like, no, I can't beat this game without her. And that is really fun. Like, I really appreciate that. And I'm like, I wish there were more games like this. And so I can 100% see how this won Game of the Year, because I really think this is like so intrinsically a game in a special way. And I'm like, yeah, I really dig it. Anyway, what you two? Who wants to talk next? Rick, why don't you
You
go
want
ahead?
to go next, Rick?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I'll jump back in. So, to be fair, I've had a really busy week. I haven't actually played all that much. So I have played a bit more of It Takes Two.
Nice.
I have played a little bit more of Saber, but as close as I am, I've not quite finished it yet. I haven't played a bit more of The Witcher, but it's still on my list. The one game that I've really sort of made a chunk more progress in that I was playing last week is Crimson Shroud, which
Nice.
now that Box Boy's sort of boxed off, is my sort of commuting game. And once you get into it, once you get past what is, to be fair, a relatively slow sort of opening 20, 30 minutes, the game's got a lot of charm to it. The 3D works really nicely with the sort of dioramas and the models that the game works with. The nature of the game lends itself well to storytelling, and the game takes advantage of that. There's a really sort of deep lore behind the group that you find yourself with in media res. There's a lot of opportunities to learn a little bit more about them. You feel like you have 3 genuine characters who you're sort of navigating with and interacting with. And the combat's quite fleshed out. It's a relatively standard turn-based battle system, but the introduction of dice and the way that it handles MP and skill points and things like that gives it an element of freshness. It makes it stand out a little bit from other genre games. So I'm having a really good time with that one. And then there's 2 new games, one of which I'm definitely going to stick out with, one of which I'm probably not. And I'll start with the last first. That is Dragon Ball Origins for the DS. I mean, the developers saw Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass and they're like, hey, we can do that. They can't. It's like a really, really generic sort of top-down action game where everything is controlled with the stylus and it's all quite basic and it doesn't really control quite right. And I don't really have any attachment to the Dragon Ball franchise. I just have an R4 card and a dream. And to be honest with you, it's probably just going to get deleted off said R4 card very, very quickly.
An R4 card in a dream. That's the title of this episode.
Oh, it's true though. I just booted it up out of sheer curiosity. It's like, yeah, meh, probably not. And the one I'm definitely going to stick out, and this has been a lovely sort of replay. It's only daddish for Nintendo Switch. The only game where you play as a dad who is also a radish. And it's better on Switch than it was on mobile, and I had a blast with it on mobile. It's still a very, very simple platformer that's just style on top of substance. Like, the platforming's good, but what makes it is the gorgeous kind of crunchy pixel art, the humor of the radishes, just the charm of it, and the clean way that it's been put together. It's no fluff. It knows exactly what it is. It doesn't have any pretensions to be anything more or less. And it definitely benefits from being on a physical D-pad. Like, the touchscreen controls are fine because it's left and right and jump, and that's it. But it's always going to be nicer on a controller. Yeah. And having not touched that franchise in a little while, come back to it, and they were on sale when I got them, so it's like 80 pence a game. You can't really say fairer than that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's been a lovely little bit of fun. I'll probably have that finished by next week. He says tempting fate once again, but it's been nice to revisit that one. And it's every bit the joy that I remembered it last time.
Nice.
Paula, crack on.
Well, as always, I've been playing Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I finally got a little bit more of inspiration to continue my remodelation. Some modeling. I don't know. The thing is that since I got like quite a lot of bells last time of my turnip adventures, I can actually like build bridges and inclines and move my villagers' houses and I can actually do stuff now because I have the money for it.
I did wonder what you'd be
So-
spending your turnip millions on.
Well, yeah, in a total island makeover, pretty much. Because a road makeover wasn't enough in real life.
Fair.
And also, we've been playing Age of Empires 4 with my boyfriend again. I don't know what we're gonna do, like playing one-on-one later, because we've done this thing where he plays with the Chinese civilization, and his civilization is like great on late game, and my civilization is great on early game. So what we do is that I pretty much like I guess like combat like all the attacks from the opposite team until he is like advanced enough on his civilization to actually start making like the very good units. So he rushes to the last age, and I'm stuck like on feudal or castle age. I'm like trying to protect him because I swear if he dies in early game, I'm fucked. Like straight up. I'm screwed. And no way I'm winning the game on late game. So yeah. We actually defeated twice the two I think it was an intermediate and a hard AI. So we're getting better at this thing.
Nice.
Nice. Then we're gonna have to do a one-on-one at some point, and we're gonna be screwed. Beautiful. Then I've started Kena Breach of Kena? Yeah, Kena Breach of Spirits.
Sure.
Oh my god. And this game is very charming. It's a bit too on rails for my liking, but it certainly is like a well-made game. So far, it is fine, TM. No, it is more than fine, TM. The game runs beautifully. The only problem, and quote-unquote problem, is that my computer sounds like it's about to take off at any time because I thought it was a good idea to put everything on ultra settings.
Nice.
Which I do not regret because the game is gorgeous. I would recommend anyone who wants to play it on the second difficulty level because the default is the easiest difficulty level.
Oh.
And if you, I really recommend going with the intermediate setting because, well, it gives you a little bit more of a challenge on combat, which I feel is like what was supposed to be like the intended difficulty at some point, but for some reason they knocked it down too easy. Been having a lot of fun so far. I've been playing like a couple of hours in total so far, and I'm looking forward to playing it even more.
Nice.
And a new game that I got is Cat Organized Neatly for PC. You have like this grid and you have to fit your cats on the grid. That is all the concept. It is a puzzle game.
Yeah, it's like a Kanban but with cats. It actually looks really, really charming.
I bet it is. I
yeah. It looks like hand-drawn too. And like each time you're given like a new cat that is like a new piece of the puzzle, I guess. You're giving like the name of the cat and a little bit on their personality too. So these cats are actual characters, and they make like different faces depending on if they're just on standstill or if you grab them and put them on the grid.
They're pretty. It looks
very
very
cute.
pretty as well. Like it's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like hand drawn. It looks like at least.
Nice and cheap, just a couple of pounds. And there's also the sequel Dog's Organized Neatly, if you're a fan of the superior pet.
Hey, the cat is a superior pet here, and I will die on this hill.
The superior
fine,
pet
you
is
will
the
be
one
dying
that
on the
doesn't
hill.
eat your face. So I'm just saying.
The cat doesn't eat my face.
The cat will eat your face
Not
if
yet.
you die.
No, it won't.
Oh, it will.
They
There's
will.
been many recorded instances of cats eating humans after they die.
They have no chill. They have
Lisa,
zero
you won't
chill.
eat my face if I die, right?
Cat's like,
Where? I don't know where she is.
No, his paws
No.
crossed behind.
Yeah, both paws. No, I'm just kidding. Cats and dogs are both wonderful.
Some are more
I
wonderful
like
than
cats
others.
better. So yeah, that's with Cat Organized Neatly. Maybe I will have it beaten by next week. And the other game, the one game that I've been making loads of progress on is Dairoku, Agents of Sakuratani. And I've done like 2 more routes. 2? Yeah, 2 more routes. And it really is a more slice of life visual novel kind of thing. Instead of like the full of drama and deep history and stuff like that. And I really appreciate that in a game from time to time. Especially because each of the characters, even like the secondary characters, are very well written. And I have to make this comment because there are like this trio of characters that are supposed to be like in charge of one of the districts. That are just like a bunch of gremlins. And there's like these 4 characters that is like actually like love interest of the route that has to keep them on check. Otherwise, they're like I ran into a scene where there was like this one character saying like, okay, let the ritual begin. Like, bring the goods. Okay, the unpacking must be like carefully done. Otherwise, the ritual will not succeed or something like that. And they were just unpacking a model, like one of those models that you have to assemble yourself. And it's like, oh, it looks in mint condition. Hey, you need to count the pieces yet. Don't. The whole scene was just stupid. I love it because they pretty much like have this mundane thing and blowing everything out of proportion. Maybe because they are Ayagashi, like they are like non-humans, non-spirit beings, I guess. And they pretty much like some used to be human, but some of them are just born Ayakashi, or like they were objects and were turned into Ayakashi after a certain amount of time. And like depending on what the context of each Ayakashi is how they interact, I guess, with the world, and also what they ask from the Ayakashi Mori, the ones that are like the humans that are in charge of them, to bring from the real world, because they don't really need to they don't really need to sleep. Like half of them don't really need to sleep. Some don't even need to eat, but they pretty much are like curious on what humans do and try to imitate them because just for fun, because most of them are live like very long or are just immortal. And that is kind of like a fun take on the whole supernatural thing. And yep, I guess that's Dairoku. If I don't have like anything else to say, which my notes tell me I don't. I think. And why don't wait? Did we all already? Yeah, we're done with the playing segment.
It's an unnaturally sort of timely recording so far.
Yeah, we've been pretty good this week. I think we're just kind of zipping.
Yeah,
Which takes us by virtue straight onto the topic this week, which is achievements or trophies or whatever your platform of choice calls them.
I want to.
Go on.
Sorry, I want to tell just a quick little story from last night involving achievements. So I was playing Mass Effect 3, and I'm at like I won't talk about like what was happening, but let's just say I'm at the end of the game at an extremely climactic moment. And it's one of those moments where, you know, like in video games where they make you walk slow. It's one of those moments, okay? So you're kind of doing that shit. And so I'm doing this slow moment.
Oh, I know where this is going already.
Yeah, and then I get to this moment, and it's about to load, and I get the achievement. And then I hear, "Grank!" And my partner's watching with me, and she goes, "Is that supposed to happen?" And I'm like, "No." And the game just crashes right back to the Xbox desktop. And I was like, "No! Fucking achievements!" Like, I was just screaming. I loaded back up, and I have to do it. It wasn't far back, but I have to do that slow fucking thing again. And then when I get to it, it was fine. So I truly think the achievement caused the game to crash, because afterwards it was fine. But anyway, that's my quick little achievement story. But yeah, what do we got? I don't even know what we're gonna talk about with achievements, but let's.
I think we were just going to talk all things achievements. Now the problem is, you guys are both gonna have to do some heavy lifting here, because I could not give any less of a shit about achievements. Like, with the rare exception of if I need like a couple to finish a game and it's stuff I was going to do anyway and it's all very close, I will occasionally do it. So for example, when I recently replayed Valhalla, I'd missed 2 achievements, one of which was like buying the last item, which I needed some more money for, and the second of which was for finishing a mini game. So like, take me 5 minutes, I'll just do it and then like box it off. Similar thing with Rocket League a little while around. Otherwise, I couldn't give less of a shit. You know, I'm playing the game to play the game. And yeah, sure, sometimes the achievements can help signpost certain things that they might want you to do. But it's rare that the achievements actually bother to do that. Generally, it's more awkward, grindy stuff or generic, you were going to do this with the story anyway stuff. So I generally have like achievement pings switched off. Certainly on Steam I do. PlayStation, I generally have them switched off. Vita, I have them completely switched off. I just don't see the point for me personally. Yeah, I get it. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
So hopefully you two do a bit more with them, because otherwise this section's going to be dead on arrival.
Well, I think something interesting though with achievements is that, like, because I agree with you. I think for like the, what would you call it? Like platform achievements, right? Like
Sure.
the Xbox ones, you know what I mean? Like the things that are overlays that aren't necessarily baked into the game that unlock. Like for instance, when I was playing Yakuza, every time an achievement would come up, I was like, great, I didn't want to read those fucking subtitles. You know, like, thanks game. So I was like, all right, get out of here. But here's the thing. If there's an achievement that is like in the game and that's like, you know, like the Xbox ones, couldn't care less. But if there's something in the game itself where it's like, get all of these things, suddenly I'm like, I'll do that. Yeah, sure. Like, I don't know why, but like if there's even like the slightest reward, I'm like a little more into it. And I feel like there are different levels of it, right? Like for me, the achievements that I couldn't care less are achievements that are just like, do X thing a number of times. Fuck off. Who cares, right? But achievements for like specific feats or like interesting things that you can do, and if they're tied even slightly to a reward, even if it's just like the smallest damn thing, I'm like, yeah, I'll try that out. I'm down.
And I think you've hit on something key there when you say like, if it's something intrinsic within the game rather than fucking vanity platform points or whatever it happens to be.
Because I think a lot of achievements are like just cancerous, where it's like, you know, you got to use this power. Like Mass Effect's pretty bad for this actually, because again, they were kind of at like that start of achievements where achievements were sort of just like this, like, oh shit, I have to put achievements in my game, and so it was just like, I don't know, use this biotic power 300 times, you know, use this one 400 times, and you're like, no thanks, I'm good.
And then you end up with achievement farming games like I Am Mayo, where the point is literally just a cheap way to farm PlayStation trophies or gamer score.
And I don't understand what their purpose is anymore. When I was doing like in the 360 era, when it kind of became a thing, it sort of made sense because you were like playing with your friends and like you would all kind of like check with each other. But like now it's just there are literally like over a decade now of time with achievements that like my score is absurdly large, but then I skipped an entire generation. And so now I'm back in on Xbox, and I was like, why do I have any of these? What is the purpose? So I don't know, Paula, what about you? What are your thing with these? Do you like going for them trophies?
It depends, because for visual novels and visual novels in general, to make games included, they are very useful to know if I have all the endings because like 90% of the games that I play don't have a stupid menu that says which endings I have or which ones I don't. So for that purpose, achievements are actually like very useful for me. Plus, if I get all the achievements, I in like 99% of the Otome games that I play, I get like a special picture like with all the characters or something fun like that.
I see.
Which I then put like a screenshot and save it to my phone because these illustrations are very, very well done. And the price one is like a huge CG, like with all the characters usually and a lot of fun stuff. Also, I may or may not have like I don't have like a completionist mindset most of the time, I guess, maybe.
Sure you don't.
Ricky's still gonna be funny.
You're gonna
But
raise
for
my brow
stuff
from me, Paula.
like visual novels, puzzle games, and if I see the achievements and they're like stupid, then I'm like all in.
Yeah.
But most of the time when it's like repeat this action like a stupid amount of times, I don't even care. But then you have like the I actually like to see the names of the achievements because a lot of the games that I play have very creative or funny names. Like Cat Organized Cat Organized Neatly has Paula's Section of Fluff or Cat Achievement or Meow Favorite or Whoa No Kitten Around.
Ah,
Nice.
Yeah, so I enjoy
those are
looking at
perfect
these.
puns.
Those are perfect puns, really.
Not happy with that one, Alyx.
Get out of here right now. Nice.
So yeah, like it depends on the game. Sometimes they are useful, sometimes they are fun, sometimes they are meh.
Yeah.
Can we also take a moment just to discuss the cancer that is online only achievements?
Oh yeah, those are broken because half the
Yeah.
games don't have them anymore. I think Mass Effect 3 had some of those, and like, well, guess what, son? Not online anymore.
Can't get those anymore.
You're
Nope.
screwed.
Though the Mass Effect 3 online
Yeah,
was
like-
very fun. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, like many of the games on the Vita no.
Slowly
You're done.
becoming uncompletable. Yeah.
And I think the testament to like how useless achievements are is the fact that you don't fucking miss them on the Switch or like 3DS or anything. You know what I mean? Like they're not there, and I don't even notice. Like I'm like, oh yeah, I guess there's no achievements here. Like, you're right. Like now that you mentioned that, the fact that you can turn them off, I'm like, I should do that because I don't even like. I forgot that you could do that. That you could just turn
they
off.
can't crash your game if you don't get a notification.
Yeah, I need to do that because goddamn, it crashed my game.
They're completely off on Steam. They're completely off on Vita. I think I might still have them switched on PS4, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. But on everything else that I can turn them off of, I have turned them off of. And it's a blessing in disguise for Epic that they haven't bothered to set up their achievement system yet. I do not care in the slightest.
Yeah, and I mean, like, if there's some kind of, like, I don't know. The thing is that they're just so useless. Like, they don't really do anything. The only ones that I care about, actually, is, like, there's, like, Game Pass award. Like, they're not really achievements. They're, like, tasks that you do, and, like, you get points for them, and you can spend those points on more Game Pass. So, like, I don't mind that. I'm
Wait,
like...
really?
Yeah, I had that on my thing. It's Game Pass rewards, and so, like, I have enough almost for 3 more months, which is, like, real nice. It's just for like playing the games.
But out later.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. It might be different in different countries. Like I know we got them in Canada. It's probably one of those things where it's like different depending where you live. But like
I
that,
think I've had nudges about points though, so it's at least a Western Hemisphere thing.
at the very least, yeah. So check it out, Paula. It's you know, because like you don't have to do anything really. You just like check in it once in a while, and you're like, okay, I've got some points here, and you just keep playing Game Pass games, and then you builds up, and then you spend it. And there's a lot of other things you can spend it on too, but.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I just like I don't know. It's weird, like because like part of me sometimes likes to check the achievements, like, oh, what did I get? But then like the other thing is like I don't like. There's so many secret achievements that ultimately You're like, what's the point? So I look at it and it's like, I'm never going to know what to do unless I look it up and like try to get all the special stuff to figure out what to do. And then at that point, it's like, eh. And I get your point too, Paula, about how like, yeah, it's useful if you are like checking to see what endings you got, but then it's also only useful once, right? Because once you unlock the achievement, if you ever are going to replay it, well, sucks to be you, right? Like,
True.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of a fan of like in-game, and maybe that's ultimately where I land on this, where like I really think that the concept isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it should just be something that's within your game. Like if you want to have, special rewards or something that you get for doing things, just let it be a thing that happens in the game itself. Because ultimately that to me feels just better. Like I think about like a Yakuza, not Yakuza, sorry, Judgment, Yakuza Light. And like that one, you're getting points and things for doing certain moves and whatnot. And so you kind of do have a checklist of stuff, but it's within the game. And so like, it feeds within the system. So I actually give a shit. But like, I don't know. I think unless you're engaged in like, you're engaged socially with your achievements and you're like sharing them with friends or something, don't really know if it appeals much for me anymore. I'm too old, guys. Don't care anymore. But has anyone...
I was going to say, speaking about caring anymore, like I don't have any funny, memorable stories about game achievements unless you two do. I don't know.
It's a slow week for us, folks. Oh, actually, before we go to our... Oh, sorry. Are you good? Do you have something?
Because I do have like some memorable and difficult achievements.
Oh,
mainly because for Persona 4 dancing.
Yeah. The segment is saved. You're saving it.
Segment is saved. Yep. Mainly in Persona 4 Dancing on Light because it has like the standard PS4 achievements, but it also has like in-game achievements. And oh boy, doing the there's one song that playing on the very difficulty level. Sorry.
Okay.
Like the thing has like 4 difficulty levels. So if you've played on the 3rd one, and you pretty much have to hit 1,000 of the notes without missing a beat, then you get an achievement. And that song is so fucking difficult. Like so difficult. I have no idea how I got the achievement because after not playing for like 3 months, then I tried again and nope, hands no moving anymore.
And that game is hard as balls on the higher difficulties.
Yeah, it's still like pretty fun. Like the fog.
And what? Sorry.
No, the fog. The one.
I have no idea what you're saying.
I was talking about the track with Adachi.
I played this a long time ago, my dudes. I don't remember.
It wasn't that long ago, but I'll be honest, it's not ringing a bell. I'm sorry.
God damn it! Well, that one track is balls hard. And doing it almost perfectly grants you like the trophy. And holy shit, that was like one satisfying thing to pull. Like very, very satisfying. I'm trying to think of another like difficult achievement, but that's the one that I remember the most.
You know what?
The other ones are just funny.
I do have one, actually. Back in my 360 days. It was the first Modern Warfare, completing that plane mission on Veteran. Do you remember that freaking mission in that game? The one where you're in a plane?
The AC-30 one where it's black and white.
I don't think it's black and white. No, but you're just up in this plane, and it's like an extremely difficult level, and you have to like rescue a hostage at the end. And it's just a really, really, really hard level. And so there was an achievement for completing it on Veteran, and under like a certain amount of time, I think, because you have to do it like really quickly. Because there's like a time there where they'll shoot the hostages. And I remember beating that, getting that achievement, and going like, I am the master gamer. It's good shit. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
That's it. I'm done.
I actually do have one. It turns out.
We all
when I played Lollipop Chainsaw, there's an achievement for flicking the camera up under the character called "It was an accident, I swear."
That's pretty funny.
Very soothing.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got another one here from Slime Rancher. And this is not a difficult one, but it's like a memorable one. And the thing is, in the game, you have an incinerator if you choose to buy one or build one on your farm. And if you, for some reason, you even think of incinerating a chickadee that is pretty much a baby chicken, you get the achievement, you monster. Send an adorable chick to a fiery ant, the same place you're not destined to go. And it's like the game just like tells you you're a fucking monster for even trying. And I think I got that achievement on accident because I was trying to incinerate like another thing, and I incinerated the chick like by mistake.
Oh, it was an accident, you swear?
I'm sorry, it was an accident the first time.
Oh man.
But yeah, the other ones that are funny, like mostly on the names, are the ones from Hakuoki, both on the Vita and the PC versions. I don't know what was going on the head of the devs, but they were just having a field day with the names of these. Like there's achievements for a character named Saito, and there's a cat here. And the name of the achievement was a Saito for sore eyes. And there's like a lot of names of achievements that go like either by a pun on the name or just like a stupid thing they thought it was funny. And to their credit, it was. So yeah, I think that's. I probably if I dig on my Steam profile, I'll probably get some more. But those are the ones that come. From at the top of my head.
Nice.
Should we move on?
Yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
before we move on to our question, there were some nice questions on the Discord actually about like the podcast, like our season numbering stuff and how I'm being all that. And I thought this would be fun to just like shout out kind of why we do this way, because I don't think we ever really said why and what season 2 is.
No.
Right?
No, that's probably fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably a little bit of history time, right? So this podcast originally was incarnated, I want to say 2018. And that was myself and two older forum members, Ultimate Zombie Toast and Kerfmurph, who really was sort of the brains behind this going on initially. That podcast was at a time when the world wasn't in a global pandemic, and we all had much more commitments on our time. And after in the region of 15, 16 episodes, the three of us decided to sort of press pause on it all. And then sort of in the middle of lockdown 2, as far as the UK sort of bracketing of them came, the idea was touted of, you know, where is the podcast? Why don't we sort of bring it back up again? And ultimately, after sort of talking to a few people and putting feelers out, the three of us sort of came to bring it back. And rather than starting from another episode number to try, sort of roll things on, we thought it made more sense to sort of delineate the two, make this season 2 respect what happened before, and also give ourselves the opportunity to make this something of our own. You know, the three of us sort of grow into it and shape it the way that we wanted to. Would you guys both say that's fair? Have I missed anything out?
No,
that's fair.
Because like the idea too is that like we're kind of trying to future-proof this, because again, this is like a community podcast, and so there will eventually come a time, I'm sure, hopefully not anytime soon, you know, knocking on wood, but like where one or more of us will, you know, just be unable to make weekly commitments. And so the kind of hope is that when that day comes, another group or whatnot can like take over and become season 3 kind of deal. Because, you know, it's just a community thing. So it'll be season 2 for probably a long time.
Yeah. Foreseeable.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future. So anyway, there's a little bit of history on that. And as for the How Long to Beat game, we still haven't decided what we're going to do with that. But
nope. I haven't even discussed it since last week.
Maybe we'll go to 200. We're still waiting for you, because remember, we record these, like, you know, we just dropped last week's episode as we record this episode. So really the community hasn't had time to give input yet. So, you know, there's a time lag on these episodes. But anyway, why don't we move on then to the question, which I really like this question. This is kind of like a follow-up from an episode we did a few weeks back where we were talking about adaptations of games into like movies and TV, but now this is the reverse. So good old R2D2 1999 asked, what's a movie or TV series that would make a good game? Which I've got one that I want to start with that, to be fair, has been made into games. I just don't think very well. And that's Scooby-Doo. And the thing is, like, it's been made into a couple games here and there, and there's like one or two in the PS2 that's apparently fine. But like, imagine Scooby-Doo meets LA Noire, but like not seedy and intense, like still goofy and fun, but like actually doing detective stuff within like a house, but like depends on who it is. Like if you're Fred, you're all about like setting traps and shit, but if you're like doing Velma, you're actually doing like the detective work. And then like Scooby and Shaggy are just like straight up like platforming or running away stuff and like shit like this. Like I would just love an adventure game with all of them, but like just I don't know, like and based off Mystery Inc., because that one is like my favorite one. There's like a really good
Is that the like 05 cartoony one? I think I know the one you mean.
Yeah.
Or is it a different?
The one that is like people love, and it's just very good. I think it was like 2 or 3 seasons of it, and it's like super, super well done. And I just think like, I don't know, I could just imagine the stuff you could do with it, like give a really stylized, cartoony aesthetic to it, and it's like a mystery game, right? Where like you're solving mysteries, and but also I don't even know, even if you make it like get slight inspiration from Telltale games a little bit, and like have like relations with each other kind of deal, like it could just be really fun. So I know that's one of my ideas, Scooby-Doo. But what do y'all think?
I want a House of Cards video game.
Oh, well, complicated now, but oh.
Listen, like, character agnostic, actor agnostic.
Yeah.
I want to play as a fucked up, corrupt American politician.
Yeah.
And I want to have conversations. I want to make deals. I want to stab back. Yeah. I think that game lends itself beautifully well to like weaving your own narrative.
The one movie / series that I would like to see in video game form, but in a decent video game form, is How to Train Your Dragon. Because there were actually some adaptations made in video game form, but most of them suck. There's like one on the Cartoon Network site, I think, where you pretty much just train dragons and do like fighting challenges and stuff like that, but it is kind of rough. There was one release for the Wii U, I want to say PlayStation and Wii, and I don't know what else. And I saw like someone trying out the game, and it is even rougher than the browser version. And there's like a new one that is on Steam and Switch, I think, and PS4, that I think you don't play as Hiccup, but rather like a new rider. And I've heard it is decent, but that's like the best thing I've heard about it. So literally like the best adaptation from one of the How to Train Your Dragon movies that I played is one on like those old phones where you could like download like a .java application. And it was like a top-down adventure game. It took like a couple of hours to beat, but at the very least it was fun. And I kind of like miss having like that, I guess, shorter adventure game. There's actually like a dragon fighting game and dragon racing game on the 3DS, but I don't know anything about those, and I'm just scared to even look at them because the record is not good at all. So I wish like they don't have to do like Hiccup's story, because that has been told again and again. But at the very least, they could like do something like set somewhere between the movies or the series or anything like that. Because with the series, there's a lot of space, a lot of like dragon riders from different parts of the world or of the archipelago, and different cultures of how a dragon is trained that you could do a very interesting thing. You could even like do an RPG if you so wish, and have like each character go on a little adventure or have a party of dragons, or I don't know. Or just flying you under the dragon and make it feel nice. Because so far it feels like shit.
It's kind of hard to
Bad.
like. The more I think about like TV shows trying to adapt, it's like I don't know. For some reason, well, actually, I think in a similar way, games to movies like seem almost easier to me. But then at the same time, because like it's really hard for me to imagine live action TV series as games, right? Even though I know we're getting to like such high fidelity and stuff, it's just there's always something off about it, right? And like, you know, like that's why I think like pretty much all our examples, except for yours, you got House of Cards, so that's interesting. But like most of our examples are like, you know, in the animated genre. But I don't know, there's something because like when I think about a good TV show, I usually like it because of its narrative. And so trying to consider like what would make a good game, not just because of its narrative, but like what actual shows have some kind of like have like the opportunity for a gameplay hook in it. And I'm like, I don't really know. I mean, there's one, this might be a deep cut that people don't know, but
I've got a deep cut as well, so we'll do deep cuts. Go on.
okay, there's this show called it's a French animated show called Last Man. And it's about this boxer and like there's like these parallel dimensions that he goes to. It's a whole thing, but it's like he's a boxer, right? And so like, it's a lot about fighting, and like part of me feels like it would really work nicely because like the whole idea is there's like these supernatural forces that like take over people, and like he's like going and fighting them and like getting rid of them and whatnot, and he has to protect this girl who's like really important and special because of this other world. And so like the animated show is a prequel to the comic that was made, and like I used to use it to practice my French, honestly. Like I would listen to it and be like, because you know it's very like French, and so a lot of slang in it. And so I'm like, you know, that would actually make like a more thinking about it, that'd make a really fucking cool video game, especially if it followed the show and then went into the world. Like it could be a pretty wide ranging like beat 'em up, kind of like I think it could have like real Yakuza vibes to it as well, but maybe more on a linear path because you have to go to a lot of different locations. But yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Anyway, if you haven't heard of Last Man, check it out. It's really cool. It's very violent though, so just heads up.
My deep cut is an old 60s British show that I watched with my dad and we loved. They tried to reboot it about a decade ago and did a really shoddy job of it. The show is called The Prisoner, and it's all about a spy who is knocked unconscious and taken to this place in the middle of nowhere called The Village. And there are loads of people there. They don't really know why, but it's this idyllic sort of secluded town. There's no way out, but something's not quite right. And anyone who goes out of line, like there's this giant weather balloon that like comes and swallows them up. So I imagine something somewhere between like the council and Hello Neighbor, where you've got to like investigate and pick up clues and work things out, but at the same time you've got this ever-present fucking white spherical threat sort of bobbing around.
Nice. You know what that makes me think of now?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go on.
No,
go ahead.
I don't even care. I don't need it to be based on this show, but I want like a Dexter video game in the style of Hitman, where the whole point is that you're stalking people as a serial killer, just like taking them out. Because Dexter, his whole like code is that he takes out like bad like people who have done
He's
like
an ethical
horrible things.
serial killer,
Exactly. Yeah. That would be fucking dope. Like if it's like kind of open ended and you're like you have to go find people and like keep an eye on folks and like watch NPCs and like imagine like, you know how like Watch Dogs Legion had like all of these like unique NPCs in their world. Like imagine if you did that, but like only some of them are doing like absolutely heinous shit and you have to figure out who they are. It could be kind of fun.
Vampire's a bit like that as well.
Yes, make it like that.
In its morality killing system, yeah.
Yeah. Trying to think, like my deep cut would probably be something along the lines of the Dragon Priest, that is a Netflix show. And the other reason it has potential is because the authors of the show are also like releasing graphic novels and books, and some of the stories are based like on a different character's point of view. So I guess you could try to make something from that, from another character that has been already introduced or something like that. Or maybe like do something a little bit like what Konosuba does with some of the games.
Sorry, bless you. What was that?
Oh, sorry. Is Konosuba, or God bless his wonderful world, that is one of those anime series that was based on a light novel
Oh.
or a Japanese novella, if you so choose. But the thing about Konosuba is that it starts with a protagonist that is on this world and is given like a second chance on a different world, because it's like, oh, we're low on heroes, so we cannot like need to import souls from other worlds and stuff like that. It's completely stupid. And it's more of it is a comedic take on the isekai genre of stuff generally, because
So many of these
the
words you have said to me are completely foreign.
okay.
I'm just smiling and nodding, I'll be
Isekai is
real.
you die and you're reincarnated on another world.
Oh,
So
far
it is
from what I thought.
yeah, it's a comedic take on that, because so many of the other series are like, oh, and you are now like either have like godlike powers on this world or something like that. No, this is a fucking human gremlin that got put into this other world, and since the goddess that reincarnated him was not nice to him, and he was allowed to take any one thing, he pretty much like brought the goddess to the world, and is like, okay, you're not in my party, fuck off. And it's pretty much like whenever you're like with a group of friends playing like a roleplay game like D&D or and each of you make like a character that is like a complete disaster, and you put everyone together and somehow it works, and that's Konosuba. So what they've done with some of the games is that they have a mobile game that actually has a good story, from what my boyfriend tells me, and is like auto battler, and you make a party and you go through dungeons and stuff like that. But there's also an RPG that has like visual novel segments and RPG segments that he's also playing right now, and he says it is the one problem is that since each of these characters is disastrous, let's say the least, like the main character has like okay stats and can do stuff, but one of the characters, Megami, is a wizard, but only use explosion magic and can only use her magic once a day. So as you can
functionally
think, she's
useless.
not very functionally useless in combat. So he's using like some of the secondary characters that are like better than the main party.
But see,
So he says like, okay, the game kind of works, but it's like if you use the main party, you're fucked.
see, that's the issue though. Like so many like TV and like movies that get turned into games, they just turn it into this like fucking garbage, uninspired shit that's like just cashing in a buck. You know what I mean? Like the TV shows are just like, we need money. We would like a game. What do you make? Auto battlers?
I mean, that goes,
You do one of
that
those?
goes both ways, right? Like
Exactly.
when you're hopping a medium, it's like, oh, Assassin's Creed, people love that game. Should we get Michael Fassbender to a movie?
Maybe. I have one other one that's like, again, more like inspired by, but I love Tim and Eric. Awesome show, great job. And that whole concept with that show is that it's basically like you're flipping through late night TV, right? Like they're just like creating things that you could have seen on TV and taking them to the absurd level. So what I want is that on a computer, right? And I want it to be like flipping through 90s websites, which is kind of like Hypnospace, but I just want it to be absurd. And like,
Just Tim and Eric WarioWare almost.
yes, exactly. Tim and Eric WarioWare on the PC. Like that's the shit I want. Or even if you did it like on consoles, if it was like flipping through shovelware. That I think would be fun, right? Like imagine a game where the whole concept is that you're going through multiple shovelware titles, but they're actually kind of fun because you're only in there for a second or two. And like, I just think that would be a fucking blast. Tim and Eric's shovelware, great game. Good job.
GG. What about you, lovely listener at home? What would you like to make into a game from a movie or TV show? Let us know in the comments down below. And hey, there's a like button right there. You know what to do.
Okay.
And we know what it's time to do. It's time to play. How long to beat the game?
Woo! So, I believe it is my edit.
Damn right.
Yes. Okay, so let me just, I've got it all ready here, so I'm going to click random. Oh, interesting. Warhammer End Times Vermintide. Yeah, I'm not particularly excited to try this one, for I do not know. It's well rated though, so it's a good game apparently. First person survival cooperative video game. Whoa.
This one has the potential of many hours.
Yeah.
It does.
Fucking shit skulls.
I've gone feet first. I've gone 16 main, 24 main plus. I have not got a clue, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do just two of them as well, because I'm not even remotely confident that I will be able to get even close to what the completionist is for this.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna probably fail, but I'm gonna at least try.
Ooh, I like it.
There have been so many Warhammer games, like it's wild.
And so many of them have just been utter dog shit.
Yeah.
I mean, recently they've got a much better record, but I will just always remember the reviews for Space Hulk on the Vita, and it just like 3 FPS.
What happens if this is yeah. I'm wondering if this is gonna have co-op times. All right, well I'm gonna say 15 hours, I guess. Yeah, I guess 20. Well, fuck no.
I am not confident at all, but I'm gonna say 14 hours for main, 35 hours for main plus, and 180 hours for 100%.
Okay, so we've got our times in. I'm 15 main plus 30. Rick 16 main plus 26. Paula 14 hours main plus 35 hours, 100%, 180 hours. Now let's see what we got here. It is 8 hours main story, main plus extras 28 hours, and completionist 120 hours. So it looks like nobody won this week.
We don't get any points.
I did not expect the campaign to be that short. Damn.
Me neither, but I had a pretty good feeling this one was not in the cards for me this week. All right, well, that's it for this week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Toodaloo.
Next time.
Bye.